All right, so let's go over number, you said 26? All right, so let's see if we remember what we're doing with these synthetic division thingies. So we've got number 26 here. If you remember our steps, first thing, I want to make sure that everything is in standard form and I put in any zero placeholders where I need them. Does this one need any? Let's see. 3, 2, 1, none. Okay, I don't need any zero placeholders, so that's good. So the next thing you do, you're just going to drop down all your coefficients. So I have a 1, a -4, 5, -57. I draw this L-shaped thingy. And what am I actually going to plug in? 5. It's always the opposite of what you see right there. I'm going to plug in a 5. You drop down the first number. And then what do? You multiply. 5 times 1 is 5, and I write that answer right here. And now I'm just going to add these. A -4 and 5 is now a +1. Multiply again. 5 times 1 is 5. Add these. 5 and 5 is 10. Multiply. 5 times 10 is 50. Add these. I get a -7. Is everybody clear how to arrive at those numbers? Now that's half the battle. You got to finish. These are now the coefficients of your answers. So remember how this works. It's always the same way. The last number is always your remainder. The next number is always your constant. And then we just have the coefficients of x to the first, coefficient of x squared. If I had more numbers, I would just keep going, x to the third, x to the fourth, and so on. So when I rewrite my answer, all nice and neat, it's just 1x squared, or x squared, plus 1x to the first, or just x. My constant is 10, and then my remainder, since it's negative, I'll do -7 over whatever I was originally dividing by, which was m minus 5. Oh, and I always mix. These should all be m's, not x's. Ugh, but you know what I mean. I always mess up the variables. And they change it from x. There we go. Yeah. I certainly can. All right. Is everybody all right with 26 now? Does that make sense? Yeah. All right. Let's jump to 18. So again, I look at 18 and I ask myself, does 18 need any zero placeholders? Is anything out of whack? 3, 2, 1, none. Oh, good. I don't need any. We're in standard form, so let's drop down those coefficients. 5, 13, -14, -31. And what am I really plugging in? -3. Drop it down. -15. Hello.
Good morning.
Oh, you got one.
Yeah, that's the new bridge room.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, I
Thank
will
you so
put this
much.
right in. No problem. All right. Good times. Add these together. I get a -2. Multiply a +6. Add a -8. Multiply a +24. So that leaves me with a -7. Yeah. So here's my numbers at the bottom. Did we get those numbers? Now we just turn it into the answer. Remainder, constant, x to the first, x squared. So when I write it on my neat, it's going to look like 5x squared minus 2x minus 8 minus 7 over x plus 3. And there's our answer. Does that make sense? Yeah. You could always double check yourself. If you're, I don't know, I mean, if you're not good at synthetic, first of all, I want you to get good at it because you're going to be using it a ton for the rest of the chapter. So anyway, but for today, let's say that you just feel more confident in long division than you do in synthetic. You can double check this answer. And today's quiz is multiple choice. So I'm never going to know if you did long division or synthetic. So I don't really care which way you do it. But if you wanted to double check an answer, or if you try with synthetic and the answer is not there and you can't figure out why, try long division then. Do you remember? Yeah,
Oh, I think you're just trying to say,
what?
we go over what more about this?
Of course we can. There are some problems that you have to do long division on, not because I tell you to. I
Because
don't.
the coefficient of the variable isn't one.
So if I were to give you the quiz and there was a question on the quiz like number, I'm looking at 13 on the front. So if I gave you this, right, and the directions were just divide these two, I don't say if you have to do long division or synthetic. If you're looking at this, you can't do this one with synthetic. Why? Because this thing, first of all, it's not in standard form. So let me just rewrite it and be 7n plus 9, right? If I fixed it. I can't do synthetic on this one because of that 7 right there. That leading coefficient of my binomial that I'm dividing by has to be 1. If it's not 1, I can't do synthetic division on this. Too bad, so sad. So I'd have to do long division. So let's go ahead and do long division on this one. So I'm going to start off the same way. I got to make sure that everybody is in standard form. I fixed this one. Oops, too high. I fixed that one. Let's see if this one's okay. 4, oh, it's out of order. So I'll swap these two. So when I go to write it, I'll fix it. So I'm going to have 7n plus 9 on the outside. And then on the inside, we'll have 14n to the 4th. And then I want the third, minus 10n to the 3rd, minus 29n squared, plus 2n minus 3. Okay, I double check before I start going because I don't want to have like miscopied something, or if I had a negative wrong. Nope, everything looks good. So everybody's comfortable now with this rewritten. I don't need any zero placeholders, but it's in standard form. We're good to go. Okay, so in order to do this, remember the questions I'm asking myself. What do I multiply this first term, 7n, to get this first term, 14n to the 4th? I'd multiply by what? 2n to the 3rd. So that goes up top in the n to the 3rd column. 2n to the 3rd. And now I'm going to take whatever is on top and multiply by what's out in front. 2n to the 3rd times 7n is now 14n to the 4th. And then I'll get a plus 18n to the 3rd. But then what do you have to do?
You have to multiply by 8.
Yeah, I'm subtracting the whole thing. So now this becomes a minus, and now this also becomes a minus. The first terms will always cancel out. If they don't, you already did something wrong. And now I have a negative 10 and negative 18 is a negative 28. The lighting is weird again today. There we go. Negative 28n to the 3rd. Bring down my next term, negative 29n squared. And then I repeat the process. 7n times what would get me to negative 28n to the 3rd? What would I multiply that by to get that? Negative 4n squared, right? Goes up top. In the n squared column, right? All of these will be n squareds. Multiply negative 28n to the 3rd minus 36n squared. But then you subtract. So both of these now, because they're already negatives, now they become pluses. Because minus a negative is now a plus. These cancel. Yes. A negative 29 and a positive 36 is 7, right? So I've got 7n squared. Okay, what's going to go up top now? Yes, n, right? Because I already have the 7, so let's put a plus n up top. Multiply. Oh, I forgot to bring down my 2n. Sorry. Multiply 7n squared plus 9n. Subtract the whole line. So you're now a minus. You're now a minus. First terms cancel. Yes. Isn't math so nice that it self-checks you as you go? You never get that anywhere else. All right, here I have a +2 and a -9, so that's a -7n. Bring down one more term, -3. What goes up top? Everybody?
-1.
Yes. Multiply. Oh. -7n -9. Oh. Problems get long. There we go. So I multiplied and now I need to subtract. They're both negative, so now they both become pluses. First terms cancel, love that. And I'm left with a 6. So 6 is my remainder. So remember how we write this. I'm just going to go all the way back up to my answer. And I'm going to add my remainder over what I'm dividing by, 7n plus 9. And this whole thing is my answer. And I'm done. And you could not have gotten that with synthetic division, unfortunately. That actually might be a little bit of a lie. You could probably do it with fractions, but it'd be a mess. Anyway, so there's long division. What else is on this quiz, you wonder? Let me get it. You haven't forgotten how to divide by a monomial, have you? So if I gave you something like 12x to the 4th plus 8x to the 3rd plus 6x or something, whatever, and you were going to divide that by, let's say, 2x. Let's do 2x squared. Remember how to divide by a monomial? Right, I'm just going to divide each one literally by 2x squared. Divide each by 2x squared, divide each by 2x squared. So you're basically just simplifying each fraction. So this first one, let's zoom in a little bit. 12 over 2 is just 6, right? And then what would I get with x to the 4th over x squared? X squared. 8 over 2 is just 4. And then if I had x to the 3rd over x squared, that leaves me with x, yep. And then here, that's 3. And then what happens with the x's? Yeah, so I'm actually going to write that 3 a little bit smaller. So I'll have 3 over x because the x that's left is in the denominator. And that would be my answer. So if you're dividing by a monomial, you just divide each term by that monomial, simplify the fractions, and you're done. Okay. I might give you something like this. And just say, hey, simplify that. Try that real quick. Did you get it? If you answered 4x squared plus 1, you are wrong. You can't, you're never gonna make this mistake again, right? Because you're really supposed to do 2x minus 1 times 2x minus 1. And you foil this business together. You can't just square each thingy. If it's a binomial, that is not allowed. You got to foil. So 4x squared minus 2x plus 1. So your correct final answer should be that. Did you get it? Oh, sorry. Can't even see it. There it is. Okay. So we can foil. We could do, let me give you one of these. Let's do something like 3x to the 3rd minus 4x squared plus x minus, sorry. Let me zoom out a little bit. Oh, how about 5x to the 3rd plus x plus 1, something like that. Go ahead and try and simplify that thing. When you get your answer, try and classify that answer by naming it by degree and number of terms.
Oh my God, I don't remember that. It's multiple choice, right?
It is.
Okay.
But don't let that lull you into a false sense of security.
Yeah, I know. Wait, let me switch.
Trinomial cubic term.
Really, Jeff?
Okay.
You had to say it out loud.
Oh, I said it loud.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, it's cubic trinomial, like you said.
I have no idea what it is because I don't know the answer, but we can find it.
I just did it in my head, so.
I hope that you, first of all, I hope that nobody multiplied this. Because this is not a multiplication problem. There's a minus sign there. So you're not gonna multiply these three by these three, you silly goose. We would only do that if it was literally a multiplication problem, but it's not. It's subtraction. So I do need to distribute that negative. So I'm really gonna have 3x to the third minus 4x squared plus x minus 5x to the third minus x minus 1. I need to distribute that negative throughout. And now I'm just combining like terms. So I'm going to get a negative 2x to the third x squared. So I only have the 1 minus 4x squared. X is, a plus and a minus, they just cancel out. And then I'm left with a minus 1. So here is my answer. And then if I'm going to classify this, what'd you call it? A what?
Cubic term.
You are right. It's a cubic trinomial. Cubic because the highest exponent is a 3. And then a trinomial because I have 1, 2, 3 terms. So cubic trinomial is correct. Let me give you a bunch of random ones and you just tell me its name. What would you call this thing? Oops, I went the wrong way. If I gave you something like 3x to the 5th minus 2, what's that? Okay.
Quintic binomial.
Yes, quintic binomial. Quintic, like quintuplets, that's 5. So if your highest exponent is a 5, quintic binomial, because I have 1, 2 terms. Yeah, okay, let's try another one. What if I gave you the number -7? Constant monomial. Yes, constant is when it's just a number, there's no variables. Constant, and then 1 term monomial. What would this be? That one. Sorry that I have writing all over. There you go. What would this thing be? Binomial, you
Yeah.
say?
Yeah, quartic.
Yes, it is. So I tried to trick you. You can combine these before you even start, right? So if it can be simplified, you should simplify it. So I really have 2x to the 4th minus 3x squared, or 3x, sorry. So yes, quartic, because my highest is a 4, quartic, and binomial, because I have 2. Okay. Oh, sorry. So let's just run down the list. If the degree is, well, let's do the easy ones. 1 term is a
Oh, wait, no.
terms. Yeah, sorry, I switched. 1 term is a monomial, 2 is binomial, and 3 is trinomial. Anything past that, you just say 4 term, 5 term, 6 term, whatever. For degree of 0 is constant. 1 is Linear, 2 is quadratic, 3, cubic, 4, quartic, and 5 is quintic. Anything past that, you would just say 6th degree, 7th degree, 8th degree, whatever. Okay, easy peasy?
Yeah.
That is one of everything, I believe. All right, so you are more than welcome to do any work that you need to on another sheet of paper. You don't have, if you can fit it on here, great. If you can't, that's fine too. You are welcome to a calculator if you want one. Punch these.
Yeah, it's.
Um,
Oh, wait.